and welcome to the Hall Prison Universe. I'm King HP, also known as Father, and we're going to jump right into this Falcon Winter Soldier Episode 2 review. We got to chop this thing up. All right, so a lot of information and a lot going on, right, with themes and things that Marvel is addressing with this show. I love the way it's going. If people have a problem with it, we'll get into that. Anyway, the show starts off with John Walker, and we're seeing John Walker in a locker room, and he's kind of like, he says he's not nervous. His high school flame comes in. We also, I didn't catch her name. If you call her name, please put her name down in the comments. But we do see Lamar Hoskins come in, and we find out him to be the accomplice, the sidekick, the partner in crime. Don't want to say in crime, right? Because they're good people. To emphasize that they're good people, John Walker has been selected as the next Captain America, and these are big shoes to fill. Lamar, his buddy, his sidekick, his road dog, his ace, boom, boom. The list goes on and on. A1 from day one is reminding him of this. With that being said, he also says you can't just punch your way out of problems anymore. Keep an eye on that. We're going to have to bring back that WandaVision watch list. We're still looking for the Beekeeper. I don't feel like he's going to pop up in this series, but we're going to have to put Lamar Hoskins on there. Now, I know there's a comic precedent for him. I don't know how Marvel is going to use him. And what I mean by that is he's going to be the voice of reason to John Walker, who might not be as straight edge as we say. Good soldier, great soldier, but maybe not the personality traits behind it, right? So we get John Walker, Captain America. I'm going to call him Captain America Walker, okay? If I call him Captain America Walker, it makes a very good distinction between Captain America, Chris Evans version, right? Steve Rogers. So if you hear me say Captain America Walker, it's because we're talking about John Walker, right? So John Walker goes out on Good Morning America. He said he wasn't nervous, but he understands the magnitude of being Captain America and who Captain America was. And he gives us information. He is not enhanced. I want that to be clear. Let's clear the table. Let's be honest. He is not enhanced. The original Captain America would have never been Captain America if it was not for the enhancement, right? Because he was a good man. John Walker, as being read on Good Morning America, is not enhanced, yet his speed, intelligence, strength, endurance, they're all off the charts. He is top notch. He is the peak. He is like an Olympian level human, essentially, right? Because he's peak. He's peak. And in the Army, as you looked at their uniforms, he is a captain, which means he's an 03. And he's not here to replace Cap. Awesome. But you got to ride this thing out. So we see that and we get that. And we also see that Bucky is seeing this, and we saw that. He's not too happy with this. He's looking at this like,
Steve Rogers?
Well, I was 2 years out of West Point when Steve came back on the scene. I followed his career very closely as an Avenger. And I like to think that I modeled my work after his.
So you've always wanted to be.
what? WTF, and rightfully so, because remember the last time he had saw that shield, Sam had it. And Sam had it given to him from Captain America, his best friend, someone who restored his purpose in life, right? He repurposed the Winter Soldier. It's almost as if you can't call him the Winter Soldier. So when he's repurposed and he's seeing the shield on another man, national television, and it's assumed he didn't get a call. He goes to an Air Force base. It's assumed this because we see him meet up with who? Sam Wilson, Falcon himself. And the first thing he's got to say is, why you give up the shield? I mean, he's not happy, right? And Falcon feels like he doesn't have to explain these things. He's on a mission. He's trying to stop these flag smashers. And Bucky, he's not even relevant to knowing what that's all about. I don't really know what he's been doing other than going around and kind of just settling his past, making amends, trying to move forward because he did get pardoned. He's doing his therapy, so he's really not in tune to running missions for special ops programs and things like that under the table. But that's what Falcon's been doing. So they get in a little spit spat where, Bucky is trying to understand what could be more important than taking the mantle of a man who is loved by America. And Falcon explains there's some things going on. Group called the Flag Smashers. And the problem with this group is they're kind of like you. They use brute force like you. So trying to get the Winter Soldier to kind of understand, it's almost like he's calling for a little bit of help and they go off, right? This actually leads to the confrontation we're going to get with the Flag Smashers. So they get there, they do a little bit of stealthy things. And it's kind of like where Falcon is observing the Winter Soldier because it's almost like observing Cap, right? But Cap is more like, I got a plan, it's more teamwork, whereas the Winter Soldier did ops by himself, right? So it's almost, it's a unique narrative, but they're getting together, they notice there's a hostage, right? Hostage. And with that, they move on it, right? But because Bucky was trying to move, Bucky was like, look, I got a metal arm. And in Falcon's mind, Falcon's like, man, I wish this guy would listen, right? Because didn't I just tell you these guys use brute force like you? Everybody don't got those powers and abilities. Once they get the hostage, once Falcon says there's a hostage, Bucky moves. Bucky ain't playing no games. Bucky is gone, right? And he chases down his truck driving, once again showing off the super speed that we didn't see in Infinity War. I bring that up because if you remember that run with Black Panther and Captain America to the Outriders, where was Bucky? But they were using Bucky as a shooter because they didn't want to overshadow and have too many superpowered beings, even though he was. So they just wanted to like kind of downplay his powers a little bit by making him more of a shooter to watch the backs of. Anyway, that's just keep that in mind. Winter Soldier can essentially do everything Captain America can do. So when he runs up, he finds the hostage. So we get the leader who apparently was posing as the hostage, Carly Morgenthau, which is a play on the Flag Smasher, the character from the comics that seemingly this group is based on, right? Carl Morgenthau. So that's a nice little flip. And this is what I love about Marvel. Let's be honest. Marvel can take a character and turn it from a character to an entity, to a brand, or to a group, or a philosophy, or a thought. Or they'll just change the overall, I'll take a little bit of this character, a little bit of this character, a little bit of this character, and then create, and then roll it into this character, right? So this way, I mean, you would have never thought about Flag Smasher being a major part of the MCU. It just didn't make sense after you got Thanos, you got the X-Men come in and they're going to have all their villains and things like that. Flag Smasher for Captain America is already, I mean, he's pretty much gone unless they bring him back. Now, there was talk about Chris Evans coming back, and it's kind of died down because, I mean, people are trying to see where he's going to fit in at. But ultimately, we see this super enhanced individual kick Bucky right up out the truck and into another truck. So this is where they understand. Bucky now gets a clear understanding. She jumps out that truck onto another one. Falcon and Bucky, they're fighting for their lives, essentially, against these. They're all super soldiers, essentially. They're super serumed up. And lo and behold, here comes Captain America Walker and his sidekick, Lamar Hoskins, a.k.a. Battlestar, right? And that's all from the comics. Whether these two will get enhanced, I feel like they will. And the reason why I say that is for later on in the episode when they say some slick stuff when they don't get their way, essentially. And I feel like they're going to want to fight fire with fire. If not Lamar Hoskins, I think that Captain America Walker will. I'm just going to keep calling him that because he's not our Cap, right? He's like, you're not our Cap, dude. Chris Evans Cap is an order off Amazon. John Walker Cap is when you order off Wish, right? I mean, that's what happens when you go to the bootlegger, right? That's even worse. So yeah, that's what we got. So the fight ensues, and a couple things you notice here. One, they get the upper hand on Falcon and Bucky, and they're able to kind of fall back. Luckily, when the upper hand is now being taken on Lamar and Captain America Walker. The gun comes out. He says, John. Lamar says, John, help me. And he pulls the gun and takes the shot. And that's something we haven't seen from the original Cap since the World War, right? Where he was using a firearm. Now, mind you, when Cap was doing that, he really had no experience. Remember, Cap was a scrawny guy getting beat up in alleyways. He had no type of experience. And here we get John Walker, who's a first time in American history, 3-time gold medal. He's a 3-time Medal of Honor recipient. He is a very decorated soldier. He was about to go on special ops missions in 2 weeks when he was selected to be Captain America. So that lets you know how decorated he is. And they get served. This guy can use the shield. One thing to note, when Bucky catches the shield, look what hand he catches it with. And I only say that because I was starting to wonder, did he get enhanced? Even though in his interview with Good Morning America, he said he had not. He doesn't have super strength like Dr. Banner or any gadgets like Iron Man. But Bucky caught it with his non-metallic arm. And I think it's because the velocity at which he throws the shield is not rivaled by the velocity to it. Remember, Cap held a helicopter. He was all the way like this, and he was able to hold that thing down. So we know the strength of Captain America. Even when my man's right here, he tried to like, I don't know, palm his face or something. Cap, and so and when he wielded Mjolnir, yes, I know that not everyone can wield Mjolnir, but when he hit Thanos with Mjolnir, he had Thanos in air, right? So Cap is very strong. And at the end of the day, I think that was just a quick like Easter egg to show you that, yes, Captain America Walker is good, but he's not like the original Cap who was enhanced. This guy, he might even be a better fighter. It's possible that he is a better fighter than Cap prior enhancement. I mean, he's definitely a better fighter prior enhancement. But this is the things that led me to believe that later on in the show he will be getting enhanced, and that's gonna maximize what type of personality he has. And that's what they were telling Cap back in the original Captain America. That's why they needed a good man to be Captain America, because the enhancement will trigger everything, personality-wise and everything, right? So, with that being said, they all get served. Luckily, I don't want to call him Cap. Captain America Walker gets kicked off the top of a truck, lands on another car. And everyone's kind of walking back. They're kind of defeated. They run into each other, they being the new Cap with his Battlestar buddy. And they run into Falcon and Bucky. And they get to talking in the truck. And they're riding back because, and Bucky is just not sold on this new Cap. He even tells him, just because you have that shield doesn't make you Captain America. That's something you got to be earned. And Bucky says, you ever jumped on a grenade? And the guy's like, yeah, 4 times, But he didn't do it the way Cap did it. Remember, listen to this. When he explains that, he says, I have an enhanced helmet, right? So when I do this thing where I could, basically that helmet that he has can contain the blast of a grenade. So he's not doing it because he knows that I'll die if I do this, but if I don't, he'll die. He's doing it because he knows that nothing's going to happen unless I don't do it. And if I do it, I'll be okay and he'll be okay. Versus when Captain America did it, he thought it was a live grenade. He literally sacrificed himself to do it. And that's a difference in personality, right? So with these flag smashers, a couple things we know. We know that they're a loved organization throughout many circuits across the world because they're seeking refuge with different groups. And people are just, every day, more and more people are like riding with the flag smashers because they want things to go back to the way the world was in the blip. And this might not actually be a bad thing. They're literally saying people were kinder to each other. Well, they're not literally saying that, but that's essentially what they're getting at, right? It was one world, one flag, right? One team, one fight. And when everyone came back, now everyone's kind of getting back to where it was. That's why I like this show, because this is the 6th month, right? So you had WandaVision, which is like 2 to 3 weeks after everything happened, and then this show is 6 months, right? WandaVision has already occurred, like literally, and in MCU time. That being in mind, things are starting to go back to the way they were before the original snap by Thanos to rid the world of half, to rid the universe of half. So things are going back to that. So now the Flag Smashers, they're basically gaining traction, right? And we find out that someone is hunting them because Carly Morgenthau gets a text from an anonymous number. You took what was mine, and I gotta kill you, right? And so there's a little bit of fear because this leads me to also believe that these Flag Smashers are not like government trained fighters or killers like Bucky was, right? Or like Cap was. So they're not super fighters, right? But they're just superly enhanced. So if you were a bouncer before, you're not just gonna know how to fight and do all these things. You just have the abilities to do all these things, but you don't have the wisdom or knowledge to, be the super fighter. So Bucky's kind of down on himself. Well, Bucky and Falcon are both down on themselves. But then Bucky tells him he's got someone that Falcon needs to meet, right? And this is where the story takes a major turn because I didn't think we were going to see this in the series. I remember Marvel saying they were going to deal with race when it came to this, and it's like you have to because you have a black hero, right? So what we see and we meet a character named Isaiah Bradley. He is very important.
He was on the peninsula, but everyone they sent after him never came back. So the U.S. military dropped me behind the line to go deal with him. I took half that metal arm in that fight in Goyang, but I see he's managed to grow it back.
So Isaiah Bradley sent in, and he is an enhanced individual. It sounds like he won the fight between him and the Winter Soldier. The problem is he was then later jailed. Now, we don't get the specifics on that, but it definitely draws the point to how a lot of black men were treated, especially when you talk about 1950s, right? Now, Marvel, when they did this, even in the comic, this was a story to mirror the Tuskegee syphilis experiments done on black men. Now, a lot of people try to say, I don't want to bring politics. Listen, if you don't want to bring that's a cop-out. If you watch my channel, we cover this, but I don't want to hear nobody say I don't want to hear politics. In comics / MCU takes real life events and then they twist or taint or change, however you want to word it, right? To make great stories and to also keep you socially aware of the things going on. So if that disturbs, I don't want canceled, bye. Because those things are really happening, right? And they still happen. And then the show further goes on to show that as soon as they leave, because Falcon is visually distraught about this. He was like, there was a black super soldier and no one talks about it. It's just like, it's just overlooked and just thrown out in history. And there's a lot of history like this. If you don't believe me, go check your school curriculum and check out Black history, and you'll only see the same stories you've been seeing. So anyway, what happens? The police come. Now this is another typical thing. I can definitely vouch for this. I have lived this many times, where as soon as you don't even have to be arguing with a white guy in the street. It's just, for me, one of the earliest times I remember being like, I think 3rd or 4th grade, and they were trying to say we were stealing cars. We were walking home from school. We didn't know nothing about nothing. But we had to try to give ID. We're like, we don't have ID, and it just got bad, right? So I don't want to hear about people when they put it in here. Cool, but I love the way it was played out, right? It wasn't just like out of nowhere this stuff happens and it's just weird. And what I mean by that was like the girl power moment in Avengers Endgame, right? Because people aren't gonna just stop fighting to just group like that was like they got a few of the girls like they did in Infinity War and did a little kind of, you know what I mean? That would have worked. But you just got, I mean, everyone just magically just, you know what I mean? So it just got weird. But here it wasn't weird because of how they played it off and kept to the story. Now, another thing, the child that answered the door, right? If this is who we think it is, if it's the grandson of Isaiah Bradley, who we saw his strength too, he still got the super serum, it's still in him, and they were testing him in jail, running tests on him and everything, right? that son, that grandson, is a member of the Young Avengers. So now you look at the Kate Bishop Hawkeye show is coming. You got Speed and Wiccan. They're still somewhere out there, right? Marvel's been setting this stuff up. And we still have Miss Marvel coming. So Marvel has been setting this stuff up. If you're not paying attention, I think the next Avenger movie is going to be the Young Avengers. But I don't know. We'll see. Marvel, they've been known to pull a fast one, Mephisto. So with that being said, right, so Bucky ends up going to jail. And you're like, wait a second. You were just talking about what? I know. But what happened was Bucky missed his court-ordered part of his pardon therapy, right? So it was very good dynamic to show, right? Bucky is actually the one who gets them to recognize Sam, because the police didn't realize, and not at first anyway. So they get there and Bucky gets bailed out, and Sam gets to meet the doctor of Bucky, Dr. Christina Raynor, and what happens is, in comes Captain America Walker, and he's basically saying, hey, we're done here. The Winter Soldier, or Bucky, he's free to go. And she's like, on whose authority? Mine, Captain America Walker, right? So that's another thing, though. Cap was a fugitive. Cap couldn't just get people released and stuff. He didn't really have those strings to pull, and I wonder why. But at the same time, Captain America Walker, he even said in his conversation with his girlfriend in the locker room, I was a captain once, meaning as if he's moved past that rank, but now he's being reverted back because Captain America is his name. But I mean, maybe they're officially having him hold that title, so maybe that's where the weight of a rank came in. I'm not sure, but he does have a little bit of pull, and we get this scene where they get to have Sam and Bucky get to talk to the therapist, and it's a good little comedic scene. They get to do the stare off, but we hear another point again, right? And the point is, Bucky, it's bothering him that Sam gave up that shield, and it's rightfully so, because now we find out that if you gave up the shield because that, meaning like Cap was wrong, if he was wrong about the shield, then he's wrong about me. Oh no, we can't have that. We can't have that. So, and throughout the episode, Bucky's like, we should take the shield. So we see his stance on that. And Falcon kind of says something without saying it. Again, people, I don't want to hear the politics. Well, then go watch. I don't know what you could watch. But you're going to see what you say, or you're going to see what you see. But Falcon, he says, you and Steve would never understand. Now, what does that imply? Maybe because they're enhanced? Maybe because they're both white? I don't know. But the implying of something leads our minds to believe whatever, right? So there's a couple ways you could take that. And it's really good because at the end of the day, Falcon does not believe he was ready for that shield. He just sees it as Cap's. And the honor, Cap died for the country and then found out he wasn't dead. So there's so much history and stuff, and he's seen him sacrifice himself and stuff like that. So the way Sam feels about that, he's a mentor, right? So this ends. Bucky has to ask the on his way out the door, he has to ask the psychiatrist, what's rule number 2 again? And she tells him, don't hurt anybody. And it's almost like what's about to happen, because it's either that is Bucky about to snap or what, because he's about to violate a rule. Why would you have to do that? It's almost like he knew. But they bump into our favorite guy, Captain America Walker, right? And he's out there with Battlestar, right? Lamar Hoskins or whatever. And they're making points. They're making strides. Sam even says, this guy's right. We got to do this. We got to do that. But then it comes a point, right? And they think about the point. It's like, listen, you guys have to get clearances to do the things that we're doing, and we're just doing the things we're doing because we love to do it. We can't be a team. And the new Captain America tells them, hey, don't get in my way. So with that being said, what kind of guy are we dealing with right here, right? Not sure. Then we see the power brokers roll up on the Flag Smashers. And this is where we see a little bit of fear on them. They're trying to hurry up and get out of there, right? A bunch of superpowered individuals, and they're trying to hurry up and get out of there. This is why I know they don't have the skills like Winter Soldier and Cap, but if you get a few of them, then it's gonna be a problem. One of them volunteers to stay behind so the plane can get away, and he gets shot to death, right, by the power brokers. The power brokers' men. So where they'll go off in episode 3, don't know with that. But then we finish the episode. We see Bucky, we see Sam walking, and they're trying to figure out about who would have the information about these super soldiers. And Bucky lets him know that that was a Hydra thing. There's one guy that knows almost everything about Hydra. Baron Zemo. Episode drops, it ends, and we're like, oh, because they show us a little clip of Baron Zemo sitting in his cell, and we're just like, oh man, haven't seen this guy since Civil War when he was able to get the Avengers to flip on themselves. So this is going to be something we're going to have to look forward to. But I want you guys to keep in mind, watch list, we're going to have to put Lamar Hoskins on there because I think he's a voice of reason for Captain America fake, right? But we'll have to see. Are they going to take that serum? One of them, my bet, is that they will. And that's going to mess things up, right? And it just won't be good. Maybe one of them might take something too far, right? And actually hurt somebody on camera or something. So we'll see how this plays out and how Marvel does it. But essentially, we got to tune in on Friday, man, and we will get the new episode. But essentially, that's pretty much it. We got a couple more things dropping. Make sure that you guys, when you get a chance, please, I thank everybody for this. Comment, share, like, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm King HP at Hall Prison Universe, and we will see you next time. Be safe.